Thank you all for being here tonight. My name is Mike Naraki. I'm the principal here at AMSA. This is my 12th. I'm in my 12th school year at AMSA. I started out as a special education teacher for a brief stint and then became the dean of students back in, I believe it was December of 2011. I was in the dean of students role at the school until 2017 when I became the vice principal at AMSA, and then served in that role for about 2 years. And then in March of 2019, I became the principal. So I've been in this role since March of 2019. I absolutely love the school. I love the community, and I'm actually from Marlboro. I have lived in Clinton. I'm very familiar with Hudson and Maynard, to be very honest. I'm not super familiar with, but I've been there plenty of times. And when we used to do these information nights in person, we visited Maynard's library on an occasion or two to give this presentation. So Miss Edwards is also here. She's our school admissions specialist. She's our registrar of that nature. Miss Edwards will introduce herself later on this presentation. AMSA is a free public charter school. It is not. I still continue, even from some of my friends. They ask me the question of, well, how much does it cost to go to AMSA? What, that sort of thing. What's the tuition? What sort of test do you have to pass to get in there? And these sorts of things do not exist. We are a free public charter school. There is no tuition. There is no test that a student has to pass to qualify for a spot in the school. So we'll go over, what it actually looks like to get into our school. Now, our enrollment capacity is set by the state of Massachusetts, 966 students. We currently have 966 students at AMSA this school year, and we always have that number, sometimes depending on circumstances, a little bit more, a little bit less, but we always even it out. In the end, we try and make it 966. That's our cap according to the state regulations. Core towns, as I've mentioned briefly at the beginning, we have Clinton, Maynard, Marlboro, and Hudson. Majority of our students do come from Marlboro because we are physically located in Marlboro. I'd say we probably have, I don't have the exact number, I'd say between 50 and 60% of our students come from Marlboro, based on the last numbers that spring to my memory. Aside from those core towns, we do come from 33 different towns, and our students' families, last time we surveyed them, we have over 50 languages represented at the school as well. So it's quite a diverse community for sure. It says here we're a supportive learning community, and we do have high expectations for ourselves as a staff, as an administration, as a teaching staff. We have high expectations for our students. We have high expectations for everybody in the community, and inside the classroom and outside the classroom, especially behaviorally. And we'll talk a little bit about some of the basic school policies later on. This line here that says we work hard, we play hard, that comes from our executive director, Miss Lindsay. She put that in there several years ago, I think back when she was the principal. What that really means is yes, we have a challenging environment. We are going to challenge ourselves, again, as the adults that run the school, that operate the school, that lead the classrooms. We will challenge ourselves. We will work hard. And we will also provide opportunities for students to play hard, if you will, meaning we have many, many different student interest clubs. We have academic after-school clubs, a full-on athletic program, many, many opportunities for students to get involved. Not only inside of the classroom, but outside of the classroom as well. It's a very upbeat atmosphere. There's always something going on campus each and every day. I mentioned here in this, along with this bullet point, that we do have a new building project coming. It's around $25 million project. We will be breaking ground. The goal to do that would be this upcoming spring. We now own all 3 buildings that are on our school campus, which is very great news. We owned just one up until late October. In late October, we ended up purchasing the other 2 buildings. on our campus from our landlord. And we have the opportunity to build out some new classrooms and build a whole new traffic route around our campus, which will definitely contribute to overall safety and traffic flow, and just making it more of a true campus feel. We also have plans to build a gymnasium in the middle of our current campus that will provide us with great opportunity for our physical education program and our indoor athletic programs that would have their games and practices in a traditional gymnasium setting. So we're very, very excited about that. Again, the plan is to break ground in late spring. It says here, I sort of mentioned this, just every member of the community is expected to bring their best to school each day. And that, again, I keep saying that starts with the people, the adults, the teachers, the administrators that work here. We bring our best and we try to model all of this for our students. Next slide here, we have AMSA mission and core values. Our mission statement, you can find it on our website. It's a solid paragraph, but the three key points that I like to pull out: celebration of knowledge. I do believe that truly exists here at the school. Our teachers are highly educated and qualified in their content area, and their enthusiasm and passion for their subjects, I believe, really does rub off well on the students. And the students that walk through our doors, our goal is to ignite that passion and to hopefully motivate them at an even higher level so that they truly do love being in the classroom and truly do love learning from their teachers. Our mission statement also mentions that all children of all backgrounds and all abilities will excel in all subjects. And we really do mean that. When students come in, especially at the 6th grade level, or the middle school level, they come in, as I mentioned, we have over 30 different towns and cities represented right now at the school. When this occurs, we're receiving students who are at all different levels of mathematics, reading and writing skills, everything. But our goal is to, meet to understand all of our students, understand their potential and get them to their potential. And I really believe that in most cases, what I hear from our alumni students, what I hear from our parents who had students that have gone through our program, is that they really do end up meeting a level of their education and their just their overall success inside and outside of the classroom, that they really do feel like they go beyond their perceived potential when they first walk through our doors. We really, really do try and foster a community of, respect and integrity and high academic rigor and challenge. And we really are trying to prepare students for the next step. And we feel like we really do feel like when students go through our educational program, they graduate, that they will feel very successful and proud of themselves. So that's our goal. No matter what level anyone's starting at, we are going to get them to where we believe they can be and beyond. Empowering students to succeed in the modern workplace, modern high-tech world is stated in our mission. And again, that goes to our classroom teachers, really focusing on collaboration, teamwork, group work, trying to guide students in boosting their study skills and preparation skills for the classroom, and also for things outside of the classroom as well, and character building and things of that nature. We're trying to do everything that we can so that when students walk out of here, like I said, they go on to, whether it's college, into the workforce, junior college, military, what have you. We want them to feel empowered and very confident in their abilities after they leave here. Core values are integrity, excellence, and community. These three core values we established a few years back. That was a community-wide effort that involved parents, that involves students, that involves staff members, administration, teachers, board of trustees members. These are the three core values that we came up with out of many, many discussions. And we talk about these core values with each and every student every year, we have class meetings where we bring each individual grade level group of students to the cafeteria, and we do talk to them thoroughly about just general expectations, but we always harp on these core values of integrity, being honest in your work, being honest with each other, being honest with themselves, doing the right thing all the time. Excellence to us means pursuing your own excellence, giving 100% in whatever you commit to, and being able to live with the result because you know you gave it your all. Doesn't mean getting an A+ in every single subject. That's not what excellence means to any of us at AMSA. It means did you do what you say? Did you do what you said you were going to do? And did you put in a maximum effort? That's excellence to us. And then community, we really do focus on. We have so many student leadership groups at the school that meet after school. And just in general, in the classroom, in the hallways, in the cafeteria, we really do preach community, being kind and respectful to others, taking care of the physical school grounds, picking stuff up if you see, trash on the floor or litter outside and things of that nature. We really try at a young age to explain to the students that it's very important that we all take care of our community. And especially with the new buildings, new build out that we'll have going on, it'll be very important for us to, take care of the physical spacing and then to take care of each other. Academic life. So prior to entering AMSA, if you do end up entering into the lottery and you do earn a seat through the lottery and you accept a seat at AMSA through the lottery process, your student would take part in a math placement exam. That would determine, that'd be the first step in determining their level for mathematics going into whether it be 6th, 7th, 8th, or 9th grade. That level is not stuck with the student forever by any means. Our math department does a very nice job of reviewing student performance and data and leveling adjustments, whether it's a higher level or a lower level. Those adjustments are made with the team and with the parent involvement as well, based on performance, because the placement exam is not a one-time deal that locks you into a certain path for the rest of your time at AMSA. There's much flexibility there, and again, it all depends on student performance and whatnot. So we are very, very mindful of that. We have a great math department that really focuses on that. Reading assessment, all students will take the reading assessment, which is run through the Lexia program. And if there are any reading supports identified, any needs that are identified through that process, the parents would be contacted, and we do have a literacy coordinator. Her name's Dr. Catherine Cole. She would be the one who would be in touch with the families at that point if there was a need for a reading course. And she is actually not only the coordinator of the program, but she also is the teacher for these classes. And she does a very, very nice job. And then we have a WIDA screener. Now, this is based on responses to the home language survey. So if there's a case where English is not the primary language in a household, or if there's another language represented in a household, we would conduct a WIDA screener. Based on those results, a student may or may not screen into our ELL program and be offered the opportunity to take ELL courses. We have a full-time ELL director. Her name is Miss Kate Lee, and she is the director. She also teaches she's the teacher for our ELL support classes. This is open to students in grades 6 through 12. Each year, she runs through all of the traditional ELL processes, as far as there's something called an access test each early spring or late winter that is administered, and that gives students the opportunity to show any progress. And sometimes students do, potentially test out of the ELL program, or have the opportunity to stay in there or exit out, but still be monitored because they were once an ELL student. So Miss Kate Lee, she works on that. We do a full-on ELL program at AMSA. Academic life, this is just an example of what a 6th grader's schedule would look like. Your everyday classes, you can see, would involve mathematics. You have pre-algebra, computer science each day as a 6th grader. I think that's probably rare to see at most schools. We'll get into that a little bit later. Students will take English class each day and also history. And then you'll see the every other day classes. The foreign language that all students take in grades 6 through 8 is Latin. Now, the reasoning for that is a couple of reasons. Number one, it is in our charter. When this school applied with a charter through the state of Massachusetts, it did state that we would have Latin offered for our middle school grades. We also do think it creates a very nice foundation and baseline for our students because vocabulary building, it's a great resource. It's a great language to have under your belt when taking some of the standardized tests like the SATs and things of that nature. And also it's very helpful in the field of science. So there is a purpose behind Latin taking place in grades 6 through 8 as the only option. Once the students get into high school or to the upper school, they do have the choice of continuing on with Latin, or they could choice into Spanish or French. So along with that, you'll see the students have art every other day. They have physical education / health every day, a grammar course, which goes along with English as well. And then biology is the first science that the students are introduced to, along with computer science. Grade 7, you'll see a little bit of an adjustment here. Algebra 7 will be the main mathematics class. You still have history and English each day. You'll notice that geometry is now introduced in 7th grade. Computer science goes to an every other day course, not an everyday course. Latin remains, and there are 2 sciences that are picked up in this process, and that would be chemistry and physics. Art is also there as well. All students take art every other day during their middle school career here. 8th grade. We have Algebra 8 and English as the everyday courses, and then you will see the introduction of earth science here. And everything else pretty much stays standard as when you relate it to the previous slide. And health and physical education, it says health and physical education on that bullet point. But for 6th and 7th grade, there are health topics covered in 6th and 7th grade as well. It's just something I need to update for these slides. So physical education and health every other day for students. And that remains all throughout high school as well. Directed study program. So directed study is a 45-minute period, takes place every school day for our students in grades 6 through 8. It runs in a few different ways. Number one, it runs as a traditional sort of study hall for students. Gives students the opportunity every single day, take 45 minutes of their time to get caught up on any work or to start their homework early so that they have some more free time outside of school operating hours. Also, the vast majority of our middle school teachers are free during this period. They either host a directed study or they are truly free and do not have a class in front of them during that time. So for example, if Mike Naraki, a student in 6th grade, is sitting in math class one day with Miss Lowenthal, for example, and I'm sitting there and I'm saying to myself, wow, this lesson was very difficult for me today. I didn't really catch on to anything the teacher was instructing on today. I don't really know what she was talking about today. I, as the student, could go up to Miss Lowenthal after class and say, Miss Lowenthal, everything just went over my head today. I need some help. Can I come see you during directed study today, maybe tomorrow? And she would say, yeah, sure. Here's a pass. And she would write an advanced pass for me so that when directed study period occurs, I show that pass to my directed study teacher. I say, hey, here's my pass from Miss Lowenthal. Could I please go see her? Directed study teacher would release me over to her, and then I would have either a one-to-one or a small group type of setting potentially to work with that teacher during that time. It's a very nice program. It's been in existence since we started as a school back in 2005. We've never really heard any complaints about it. The middle school students love it. I think the teachers love it as well because there are a couple different options on how to work it when you're a student. Every 8 days, once every 8 days, we do run an advisory period, which focuses on character building, focusing on themes such as responsibility, integrity, some of our other core values, bullying prevention week, just empathy, kindness, community related sort of things. They cover a bunch of different topics during advisory period throughout the year. And these are 45-minute lessons, again, once every eight days. That seemed to be going very, very well over the past few years. Our school counselors actually created a program a few years ago, and now we are working on a program called Trails, which is TRAILS. It's an acronym for the program that we're using for our advisory this year. Moving on, student life, just some more little introduction to some more of the clubs and things like that we have to offer. So we do have social events, dances, there's sports games, games that students can attend, competitions, and PTO does run some events to build community, especially with the new families. They had a few events earlier this year, bringing the new families together to meet each other. Some clubs that are specific to middle schoolers. We have drama club, which usually has close to, depending on the season, they run 2 different drama seasons throughout the year. It's close to 100 students at some points during for drama society. There's a middle school math team. There's a ball team. There's creative writing club that used to exist. This year, I do not believe that one's running, but they kind of go in and out each year. There's a book club, and then there's a Harry Potter club, which I do not think is running this year, but just left it in there to give you an example of the different sorts of interest clubs and academic clubs and things of that nature that exist at the school. Field trips, we're not running field trips right now this year because of what we have going on with COVID, but under normal circumstances, our hope would be to run at least 1 field trip for each middle school grade each year. 6th graders usually climb up or they hike up Mount Wachusett together as like sort of a bonding experience and a little bit of a challenge. That's been the traditional trip for 6th grade. 7th grade, they usually go to Canopy Lake Park. 8th, and they also had a Worcester Art Museum sort of trip years ago. We'll have to probably make adjustments there as well. Again, that will probably be more of a discussion for next year. And 8th grade, we have done different field trips each year. It kind of rotates a little bit. And I can't remember off the top of my head what the last 8th grade field trip was. But just so you know, those do exist. We try and get at least 1 out there for the middle school students. High school, once you get into high school, same sort of thing. We try and get at least 1 field trip for each grade. So what do we believe separates the middle school at AMSA from other middle schools? We do have a 7-year vision for student achievement here at the school. The student starts here in 6th grade and they end up walking the stage at graduation as a 12th grader. They've been here for 7 years. It's very nice. We're all on the same campus. Our middle school teachers are in very close touch with our upper school teachers. We do have a nice working community, and we get to know the students at a very young age and really watch them go through the whole system. We learn a lot about our students along the way through our own professional development as staff, our grade level meetings where teachers in the same grade level, they meet to discuss student achievements, maybe just some grade-wide concerns and things of that nature. Our school counseling department does a great job working with teachers to identify any struggles that students are having or families are having, and working with families and students on how to improve. And we try to be very proactive rather than reactive. And we do believe that 7-year vision definitely helps us out and separates us. We do have a rigorous course of study. As I mentioned before, we have high level of expectations. An example here, our science department chair, who recently retired last school year. We have a brand new science department chair this year. But our old science department chair, who was here for about 15 or 16 years, he used to say that by the time the student exits or concludes middle school at AMSA, they have about 75% of science content that the average high school student would end up with at your traditional public school districts. So our science department does a very nice job of layering the sciences. As I went through, you start with biology, then you add another 2 sciences, then you add earth science. Our computer science program as well, as a core class, is something that's rare, I believe. And we have some of the best computer science teachers around as well, and an unbelievable department chair who leads that department. So just all of that together, we think really helps. We have a strong tutoring and mentoring program in partnership with the high school in general. Some of our students in the high school spend time going through training, going through a whole process to learn to be an effective tutor. Excuse me. And they work with our struggling middle school students. And there's a whole referral process and program in place to make this all function well. We have a math intervention program, which is not mentioned here, that also helps identify students of all grade levels who may be struggling in math. And we hook them up with a student tutor, or our supervisors who run that program as well. The adults also can get involved, and it really works very effectively. Our athletics program provides middle school students with the opportunity to potentially play with high school students and be led by, high school captains and things of that nature, especially in like track and cross country and things like that. They do have separate teams, but they are, bonded together, and sometimes they will practice at the same time usually, and sort of be around each other. And it really helps. Peer mediation is something else that we offer for our middle school students. So if there's a minor conflict, and I'm talking, a minor conflict that we want to de-escalate, we do have students that are juniors and seniors who go through a training process to become peer mediators. They're trained on how to conduct simple conflict resolution for very minor situations. If there's a minor dispute between 2 students, for example, in the 6th grade, they may have a senior, 2 seniors come in to help mediate and help them come to an agreement on how to best move forward from this to keep things from escalating to a higher level. Program has worked beautifully in the past, and it will continue to, I think. Next slide. I apologize. I have a little bit of a cough. So student behavioral expectations, I'm not going to go through our whole handbook or anything of that nature. Our handbook is about probably about 75 pages or so. So I'm definitely not going to go through all of that, but I can go through some of the basics, some of the things that are easy to see, and some of the things that we deal with the most. In general, we do really have high behavioral expectations. I truly believe that we do a nice job, number one, being proactive and trying to do our best to keep things from escalating to a high level. Number two, actually following through on our policies and what it says in the handbook. We do hold like I've said several times, we as a staff hold ourselves to a high standard. We hold our students to a high standard as well. And we expect them to hold themselves to a high standard. So when there's a mistake made and there's a consequence that goes along with it, yes, there will be consequences, but we also want to focus on education. Will the student learn from this and not just think of this as, oh, I have a consequence now. We want to focus on providing them and their families, in some cases, with the education that they may need to not repeat the offense and improve. But we really do stick to what we say we're going to do. We want our school to be a safe and comfortable environment for everybody. And we really, I truly pay very close attention, and want us always to be a school that sticks to our high level of expectations. Cell phone policy for lower school students, for the students in grades 6 through 8, they must have their cell phones in their lockers during school hours, unless a teacher gives them permission to bring a cell phone to class for academic purposes. That happens every once in a while for sure. But the vast majority of the time, the students will have their cell phone, are expected to have their cell phone in their locker. Do some of them try and sneak it on and keep it on them during the day? Of course. And sometimes students get caught using them, or they fall out of their pocket, or whatever, right? Our policy is we collect the phone, we confiscate a phone if we see it, if it's a teacher or administrator or anyone who sees a student misusing their phone. we confiscate it, we bring it to the main office. The main office will call the parents or guardians and say that, you know, your child's phone was taken away today. You need to come by and pick it up. And that's how we give it back to the student, is through the parent. And 99% of the time, maybe a little less than that, maybe 95% of the time, we don't really have repeat offenders for situations like that, because usually the parents get very frustrated with their child and tell them not to take their cell phone out again in class, because they don't want to have to leave work early or have to go out of their way to come into the building and collect their phone. Uniform policy. We do have a uniform dress code here at the school. I'm not going to go too far in depth with that, other than just to say we've come a long way in a positive direction with our dress code uniform policies. Everything that you would need to see and learn would be in our handbook on our website. And also there's a uniform section on our website that will show you a nice user-friendly visual poster that kind of goes over the keys to our uniform policy. It works very well. We don't deal with too many issues with uniform because it's been well established and consistent over the last, I'd say, 5 or 6 school years. We have a referral process through the dean's office. We have a dean of students for the lower school and a dean of students for the upper school. So 2 different people there, and they work through a referral program through our software system, internal system that we have at the school. That's how teachers communicate with the deans for non-emergency or non-serious offenses. They'll write things up through our referral system, and the deans will always follow up with the students. Some of our operations. Transportation, I still need to update the slide. Right now, we actually have 3 fee-based regional buses, and we have our Marlboro buses as well. As far as the details on transportation and the costs, each year it sort of varies. For the regional buses, Marlboro busing is free. Regional busing is not. The fees are posted on our website right now for this current year. But again, those are always subject to change depending on which year it is. And we'll go over who's responsible for transportation. If you have any questions about that, we'll have Lynn McCluskey, our operations manager. We'll have her email posted at the end of this slideshow. You'll see all the key contact information. Lunch program. We do have a very solid lunch program. We work with a company called Catering Options. Our lunches are run a little bit differently than maybe some of you are used to. We do not have a working kitchen during the school day or on campus at all. Our food is delivered through Catering Options. They serve the food to our students. Families and students can order. They have to order their lunches in advance, a month in advance, actually. So you'd look at the menu, for example, for January, right around this time of the month, and you look at what the options are for each school day, and then just check off the box on what you would like that day and make your payment through the system then. That all generates on our end. We have a lunch director employed by AMSA, not Catering Options, that oversees this whole process and works with families and students, et cetera. The food that they have to offer is a very solid choice, to be honest with you. I've had some of the leftovers before, and it's actually great food. Right now, the average cost is $4.85 for a lunch. AMSA Health Office, we have 2.5 nurses, 2 full-time, 1 part-time registered nurses. They run a very great system. This year, they have been absolutely hammered with business this year due to COVID, obviously. And I just really appreciate what they've been doing this year. But even under normal circumstances, they do a wonderful job. They're highly communicative. Our lead nurse is Miss Searle, and she's been at AMSA for a long, long time. She's great. They run a very effective office. Field trips. I already mentioned that. I will not go into that, but I'll just mention that our grade level coordinators, AKA class advisors, they're the ones who sort of organize those field trips I mentioned earlier. And we do host right now over 40 clubs at AMSA. Again, just another number there for you to keep in mind of the opportunities that we do offer outside of the classroom. So AMSA Athletics, as I mentioned at the very beginning, we do a full athletic program. We're part of the Colonial Athletic League. You'll see here, Central Massachusetts, we're District 2 here in Central Massachusetts at the Division 3 and Division 4 levels. We have 23 varsity programs, close to 40 different teams. Students in grades 6 through 12 are able to participate at varying levels. We do have some middle school specific teams, boys basketball, track and field, cross country. And each season, whether it's fall, winter, or spring, there's at least one no-cut sport offered, meaning that, there's one sport out there that will not make roster cuts and that all students who try out would be able to play. Moving on from athletics, school counseling department. We call it the school counseling department. You probably hear it at other schools as the guidance department. We call them school counselors here. Not for any particular, just because it's more of an up-to-date terminology, I would say. But they're here to support all students academically, socially, emotionally, in college and career development. They do conduct classroom lessons once in a while, and of course provide individual counseling sessions. As I mentioned earlier, they do oversee the lower school advisory program. In high school, when students get into high school, they do run junior and senior seminar classes focused on college and career exploration and development, and they are implementing freshman and sophomore seminars this school year and into the future years as well. So starting at freshman year, you really start the college and career exploration. And they do a very nice job with this. We have a very strong counseling department. They also oversee the standardized testing mentioned there. And they also oversee the 504. They're the 504 coordinators for the school as well. Special education department. We have a full functioning special ed department. Service delivery. We have an inclusion model. Majority of the IEP services are delivered in the general education classroom. We do have academic labs that are offered in place of study halls for particular situations as determined by the IEP team. Services are delivered, as it says here, by the special ed teachers, general education teachers, and paraprofessionals. We do have a school psychologist on staff with us, part-time, speech language pathologist, and we have contracted services with a BCBA, physical therapist, occupational therapist, and an assistive technology specialist. Transition meetings will be coming up in the spring for all of the incoming students who earn a seat and accept a seat at AMSA. Miss Jarvis, her name is mentioned down there at the bottom. Lynn Jarvis is our special education director. You can contact her through email, which is right there for you at any time if you have any questions relating to the special education department. She could not be here tonight. She was here at our night last week on December 1st, and she stayed after and spoke to some families. If you have any questions for her, she'd be more than happy to talk to you over the phone or through email. And I'm going to let Linda take over. Take it away, Linda.
Okay. So I'm Linda Edwards. I'm the registrar, and I will be the one that would help you through the process of the lottery and registration. I've been with AMSA for about 12 years now. I have 2 children who went to AMSA. I was a substitute teacher for a while, and then I've been registrar for about 5 years now. So every student who comes into AMSA does come through a state-regulated lottery. And the process begins with the lottery application is open now, and it's open until February the 4th. It's a simple one-page document asking, your name, how we would contact you, and your child's name and the grade they're in. You can find that online. I put a link in the chat. If you go in there, the first window you see when you log in to make your account is the one on the left showing down the bottom. If you applied last year, you can log straight back into your parent account. If you did not apply last year, or if you applied any other time other than last year, you will need to make a new parent account. We changed over to a new system last year. Once you get inside, you will make an application for your child. Everybody needs to do add new applicant, and that will make an application for this year. If you try and edit an application you made last year, you'll end up taking your kid off the wait list for the current year and all kinds of problems. So please just add new applicant. Once we get all the applications in, and then in the middle of February or so, we will get information from DEAS, which helps us set up the lottery, which will be run in the last week in February. But before we run the lottery, you will get an email which will contain your child's ID number for the lottery. This is just the number that you'll see instead of your child's name. You will never see your child's name posted on the lottery or on the web page where we post the results. So you do need to hang on to that ID number and refer to it when you're looking for results. So generally we take in about, depending on the year, but between about 125 to 135 students in 6th grade. And that is our biggest intake class. All other grades, basically we are backfilling for any students who leave for any reason, then we will backfill the seat. So that generally gives us, for 7th grade, maybe 4 or 5 seats. 8th grade, it's very low, 1 or 2 seats. In 9th grade, we do tend to bring in maybe 12, 15, even up to 20. And that's because we do lose some students who go off to ASABIT, to the technical high school, or they go on to private school. And so those seats will get filled in 9th grade. And if any 10th and 11th grader fills, that would become a 9th grade seat. I think that's about all the things I have to say. If you do have any questions, please email me at admissions@amsax.org, and then I can help you with your individual questions. Okay, Mike.
Yep, thanks, Linda. This just has the important contact info. There are other names we could certainly throw in here as well. You can always search our site under the directory information and locate particular people that you'd like to speak to that may not be on this list. So I'm looking at the chat right now for students entering at grade 9 from a public school. How is your experience on how do the 9th graders adjust and how do they fare? That's a good question. So for the incoming 9th grader, Linda, were you about to say something? I don't want to cut you off.
I mean, I'm quite happy to take this one. You know, we do bring in 9th graders, and we are still bringing in 9th graders at this point in the year. You know, generally, if a new student is coming in motivated and wants to be here, they do really well. And our students who are currently at AMSA are always very kind of welcoming and helpful to any new student. As a kind of process, we tend to bring in a new 9th grader, and we would assign them to a student to shadow for a couple of days. So that way they get to know somebody and that person's friends, and they get to know their way around the building before we set them off on their own. So we do generally find 9th graders, you know, do well if they're invested in the process. Any other questions out there? You can find a copy of these slides on the admissions page if you want to look at something in more detail. Okay, thank you, everybody.
Have a good one.